Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Real Positive Girl podcast. My name is Sabrina, and happy Friday to you all. I hope that if your day is just beginning, that it is going to be absolutely awesome and really fun and a good way to end the work week. You know, if you have a traditional Monday through Friday work week. So I hope that you're able to stay focused as long as you need to and then be able to head out and enjoy another great weekend. If you are in the middle of your day or towards the end of your day, I still hope that you're having a great day and that it has been pretty good. And as I say every single episode, if you're having a crappy day, you know, it's just raining down on you, things are just so sucky, I encourage you to take that 5-minute reset time where you can be alone for at least 5 minutes, find some peace and just stillness with yourself, be able to come back to baseline, be able to reset, feel like you're starting over again, even if your day is almost over, because there is no rule about when you're allowed to restart your day. You can restart it at any time you'd like and as many times as you'd like throughout the day. But I encourage you to just be able to take some time to really decompress what is going on with you. Maybe if you have time to implement some problem solving skills and figure out what you can do to solve whatever crap is trying to take you hostage and, ruin your day. But the main goal of this whole 5-minute reset is to be able to walk away and feel at least neutral about the rest of your day, if not positive. And I know that there are not times where you can always feel positive or happy or ecstatic for life, but if you walk away at least feeling neutral and, implementing some time for gratitude and just feeling humble and knowing that things could be worse, and just be grateful for the day that you have. So I encourage you to do that if you are having a bad day, but I encourage you that if you're even just having not a bad day, but it's just stressful or overwhelming, you can take the 5-minute reset time for that too. So anyway, happy Friday. Just a reminder that this week we are talking about no more negativity, and today, Friday, we are finishing up this series of episodes, and we're going to talk about live life with a positive perspective. So let's go ahead and just jump right in. We will all have to deal with negativity at some point. It's just how life goes. But learning to limit and manage how it affects you in your life is key. We don't get to choose when bad or difficult things happen to us, but we do get to choose our mindset and perspective. So it's important to remember that when you are feeling yourself dip into a place of negativity and complaining, catch yourself before the thoughts spiral out of control. And this is what I was talking about earlier in the week, where it's important to practice mindfulness. It's important to be self-aware so that if you do start getting so many negative thoughts, if you just feel like things are about to spiral out of control, you can stop yourself. You can just put the brakes on whatever's happening, despite where you are, what group of friends you're with, what's going on, because there's nothing worse than diving deep into negativity in your mind, especially if you are forced to try to put on a happy face on the outside, depending upon what kind of situation or experience you're in at the moment. So it's important to just be able to learn how to be aware of what's going on in your mind, or what words may be coming out of your mouth, so that you can put a stop to it before it gets worse, doubly worse than it could actually get. It's also helpful to surround yourself with people that are uplifting and positive on the regular. There isn't going to be anyone that is happy and positive all the time, but if the majority of their days are spent spouting off negativity, that's not the best company. And I know it can be really hard when you do have friends that are negative and always complaining about this, that, and the other, or, are never trying to make their lives better. They're never trying to work on any of the issues that they're going through. They just expect everyone to put up with whatever attitude they have. That is not the kind of influence that you need in your life. And as hard as it could be to step back from those relationships for you and for them, especially if they are just using you as a crutch because you have decided not to say anything about their negativity, then you're not helping them, and it's definitely not helping you. So it's something to consider. and make time for positive experiences like finding time with friends and enjoying hobbies, as well as making time for exercise, which is known to boost mood. I love exercising. I feel like anytime that I am feeling in such a bad mood, I am just so agitated, stressed, I'm just angry, it is so helpful for me to take a long walk, or when the gym is open, I love to go to the gym even if I've already been there that day, or I can do a home workout right now. It's just these kind of things that really help blow off steam and just fill me with endorphins and make me just feel really, really good. But also taking the time for friends that are positive influences, hobbies playing video games, puzzling, maybe you like to draw, write, whatever you like to do, sing, dance, whatever it is. I encourage you to spend more time working on that, and that'll keep you more positive. If you are having trouble balancing the negativity in your life, stress management might be something to look into too. Stress management techniques are easy to look up online, and for sure I'll be doing a week talking about it too. But if you do find yourself thinking oh yeah, I do encounter a lot of stress, and that's where the majority of your negativity comes from, I really encourage you to take some time to do some research online on things that will help you to de-stress and manage that and figure out what you need to do going forward to reduce the amount of stress that's in your life. I want to give you a few things you can focus on to have a positive perspective instead of spending any time complaining or just continuing to fill that bucket of negativity that is always waiting to be filled. It's always waiting for someone to just continue to fill it, continue to dip in and, expand that. It's amazing how negativity can spread so much easier than positivity. And I think that's something that if we all work on, being more positive and practicing positivity, the world can be filled with more positivity than negativity. I know that it'll never be a perfect world, but it's like the ideal, right? So first off, I want to talk about spending more time focusing on gratitude, which I know I talk about a lot, especially when you have the urge to complain. This will help you to focus on the good and humble yourself as well. So, having a quick list of at least 4 things that you can write down each day that you're grateful for, no matter how big, small, or medium those things are. Also being grateful for the people that are in your life and showing them that you're grateful for them, grateful for their friendship, grateful for their love, their care, their constant, checking in on you, just grateful for the relationships that you have in your life. But yeah, anything that you are grateful for, you might want to show gratuity to yourself, or even to yourself for if you are struggling with negativity, but you have been finding some time to work on self-care and things like that, be grateful, and just be grateful for your body and for your mind being able to continue to carry you along through all the stuff that you may be going through. But yeah, because being grateful for everything in your life and those around you can instantly humble you and make you realize that, wow, my life isn't that bad. I'm hyper focusing on all these negative things when I really need to be focusing on more positive things, or just feeling neutral about the situation so that I don't just, fall into supreme sadness and depression and any other negative emotions that could plague you if you take things too far. Also, it's also helpful to focus on taking care of yourself, like I mentioned with self-care, nurturing yourself, and making sure you are putting your needs first. If you don't take care of yourself, you aren't able to help anyone else, and no one else is going to take care of you for you. That's just not how life works. Some people, there are those codependent relationships where people might be trying to do that, but ultimately it is your responsibility. So you need to take the time to take care of yourself, work on that self-care, nurture yourself, learn new things, call yourself out for things that you're doing that you need to work on, all kinds of things like that. So you need to zone in on you, especially if you're spending a lot of time zoning in on other people and their problems, and then you're just distracting yourself when you actually need to be focusing on yourself. Something that might seem strange to suggest to help manifest a positive perspective is to take some time to focus on forgiveness and letting things go. Continuing to hold grudges and transgressions against others will only continue to manifest more negativity in your life because of the weight of judgment you are holding against them. So you're just probably like, I don't understand forgiveness and letting go. Those things don't fit in, but they do fit in, because if you're choosing not to forgive someone in your life for whatever they've done to you, whether they're doing it on purpose or not, it it's holding a negative space in your heart and in your mind, and that's not doing anything for you. Holding back forgiveness from someone isn't doing anything for them, obviously, and that's probably why you're doing it, but it's also not doing anything for you. It's not really giving you any sort of upper hand, any sort of empowerment, anything like that. It's just you holding judgment against this person, even if, what if they did try to reach out to you and ask for forgiveness and apologize and all this stuff, and you're still not? There is no point in you doing this. It's a selfish move. And then just letting things go. If people do you wrong and you have decided to forgive them, but they don't care, they're still doing wrong against you, or people have just done you dirty in the past, it's important just to let those things go, okay? Because holding grudges and just holding on to things that you don't need, that aren't benefiting you, that aren't building you up, those are unnecessary. So just let it go, okay? I just encourage you, let it go. Move on. It's easier said than done. I'm going to tell you first, it is, because I used to be the queen of holding grudges, because I still struggle with this. I'm always riding that horse, of everything should be fair and equal in the world, and people should treat me the way that I treat them, but that's just thrusting and projecting my expectations on other people, which isn't fair. And I would hold grudges all the time, because I'm like, why aren't they do this and that? And then this person wronged me, and, this person did this and that, or didn't do this and that. And then, I even have family members in my life that actually physically and mentally hurt me on purpose, but I've had to learn to just let those things go, because they're not doing anything for me. They're just these negative memories that I have in my mind. It's causing me to feel these just grossness inside, to be honest with you. So I would say that if you are struggling with that and need help with that, please reach out and get help from a mentor, a counselor, psychologist, a close friend, family member, someone you trust, to really talk about those things and break them down and figure out why you are clutching to them so hard, and then just learn to let them go. Maybe I should talk about that one week too, because that's really important. And I know that people do have a hard time with forgiveness and letting things go, because no one likes to let anything go, whether it's feelings, material things, memories. It's tough. It's really tough. Lastly, find ways to empower yourself and take control of your mindset every single day. This could be positive affirmations, listening and watching positive programming like podcasts or YouTube videos or audiobooks, or you can read regular books. That's cool too. I enjoy that. Cut out anyone in your life that brings you down or is constantly spitting out negativity. Like I said, with the group of friends you have, if they're a terrible influence, take a step back or 10 steps back, whatever is necessary for you to be your best self and not have negativity plaguing over you. Try to simplify your life to cut back on stress and spend time focusing on goals and bettering yourself that way. Focus on things that are going to help you grow more into your best self, which will help you cultivate more positive opportunities. Again, it goes back to focusing on the things that are most important to you, that are going to help you grow and live your best life, that are going to help you be a good role model for anyone else that is watching you in your life. And I'm not saying that it's a necessity for you to be a role model, but sometimes you just end up being a role model. And I strongly believe in this, and I believe it's one of the biggest things that's wrong with a lot of these younger kids that are growing up, that our kids are watching on TV and sometimes social media. And it's hard because they're like, no, I'm not a role model. I didn't decide to be that. I can do whatever I want. But really, if you're out there and you're in the public eye and you're fine with that and you're flaunting it, then you're a role model. But honestly, on a regular normal people level, you can be a role model and not even know it. If you are a parent, then obviously you're a role model. But you could be a role model to that younger person that you work with that is just starting and you're super advanced. You could be a role model to someone at your church or some other volunteer group. You can be a role model to someone that's looking up to you because you're a master in it and they want to also be a master someday. So just keep that in mind, that you could be a role model to someone and what you do matters, Don't be selfish and just be like, oh, I don't want to. I don't need people looking at me like that. But honestly, it's not a negative thing. It's actually a positive thing. And we should all be there trying to help each other out as much as we can. So that is it. That is it for this episode. That is it for this week, talking about no more negativity. I hope that you really enjoyed all the episodes. And if this is the first one you're listening to, well, I encourage you to go back and listen to the other 4. I think they were good too. And if you really like this episode, I encourage you to share it with someone else that will really like it. And but again, thank you for coming and listening to the Real Positive Girl podcast. My name is Sabrina. I hope that you have a fabulous weekend. Get some rest, have some fun as much as you can, despite where the world is right now. And some people are still, the whole lockdown situation, which I live in Washington State and we kind of are. So anyway, have a good weekend. And I hope to see you next week for whatever I talk about next week, which, as usual, I don't know what it's going to be yet, but it's going to be good. So I will see you next time. Bye.